500, that is the number of ranking points waiting for the champion in Washington. 500 points, roughly $252,000, and one trophy that has never belonged to a player from the Philippines. And 3, that is the number of matches standing between Eala and that history. 3 matches between a 21-year-old from Manila and the first WTA Tour title of her career. Not a junior title. She already has that. Not a WTA 125 title. She has already won at that level too. This is different. This is the main tour. This is the level where every round can bring a champion, a former world #1, or a player with enough form to end your week in one afternoon. Eala is 3 wins away. The easy version of this story says the bracket gets harder with every round. Quarterfinal, semi-final, final. That sounds logical. It is also too simple. Because the most dangerous match might not be the final. The most frightening opponent might not be the highest-ranked player. And the biggest obstacle might not be standing across the net at all. This path has 3 parts. The first is a trap. The second is an ambush. The third is a question. A trap in the quarterfinal. An ambush in the semi-final. A question in the final. By the end of this video, you will know where this run could break, what Eala needs in each stage, and why one number outside the scoreboard may tell us more than any ranking. But first, we need to understand what she is actually chasing. Because Eala has already beaten players with the names, trophies, and rankings of champions. She has beaten IGA Swiatek. She has beaten Elena Rybakina. She has beaten Elina Svitolina. She has beaten Zheng Qinwen. She has beaten Leylah Fernandez. That is the resume of a player who belongs on the biggest courts. But she has never won a WTA Tour title. Not one. That gap is the story of this week. Eala has won professional trophies before. She won Guadalajara in 2025. She won Birmingham in June. Those victories mattered. They proved she could survive a tournament week, manage pressure, and close a final. But both came at WTA 125 level. That is a serious professional level. It is also not the main tour trophy she is chasing now. Washington is a WTA 500. The field is deeper. The points are larger. The pressure grows every day. And there is nowhere to hide. She has come close before. Eastbourne in 2025. Her first tour-level final. She lost 6-4, 2-6, 7-6. The final set tiebreak ended 12 points to 10. 2 points separated her from the first main tour title of her career. She did not get them. That loss created the question that still follows her. Can she produce one huge win? Yes. She has done that many times. Can she produce 4 or 5 huge wins in the same week, then finish the job when the trophy is 1 match away? That is different. Washington is asking her to answer that question now. That difference also changes the psychology of the week. At a smaller event, Eala can enter as one of the strongest names in the field. In Washington, the draw is filled with players who expect to win main tour trophies. They have bigger serves. They have deeper experience. They have teams built around recovery, scouting, and preparation. A player does not receive many free games at this level. One loose service game can cost a set point. One poor decision can change the entire afternoon. That is why winning here would mean more than adding another trophy to the cabinet. It would prove that her game can survive the depth of a full WTA 500 field from the first round to the final. The ranking points show how quickly everything can change. A quarterfinal brings 108 points, a semi-final brings 195. A final brings 325. The title brings 500. Every step changes the shape of her season. A deep run can push her closer to a new ranking level. A title can change her position before the biggest hard court tournaments of the summer. But the points are only part of the story. Every major breakthrough in the career of Eala has ended just before the final reward. Miami made her famous. but the run ended in the semi-final. Berlin showed she could beat elite opponents in consecutive rounds, but she still left without the trophy. Wimbledon made history, but the run still ended before the final week. Again and again, she has reached the door. This week is about walking through it. So, let us walk the path. One match at a time. Match 1. The quarterfinal. Eala faces the winner of Elina Svitolina and Polina Kudermetova. Most attention naturally moves towards Svitolina. That makes sense. She is the second seed. She has reached the top 3 in the world. She has spent years winning the kinds of matches that break younger players. She does not need to overpower you. She makes you play one more ball, then one more, then one more. She changes direction. She extends rallies. She waits for impatience. Then she turns your frustration into her advantage on a hard court. That style becomes even more dangerous. The bounce is clean, the rallies are longer, the patterns repeat. That gives an experienced player time to read the match and slowly remove your best options. Svitolina is not a wall because she hits harder than everyone else. She is a wall because she keeps asking the same question until you give the wrong answer. But Eala has already beaten her. Berlin. This year, 6-3, 6-4. Straight sets. No retirement. No collapse from the other side. Eala stepped onto the court against one of the smartest competitors in tennis and solved the match. That matters. A previous win does not guarantee the next one, but it changes the feeling. Eala would not walk onto the court hoping she can beat Svitolina. She would walk onto the court knowing she already has. Her body has seen the speed. Her eyes have seen the patterns. Her mind has already survived the pressure. That is the comfort. Now here is the trap. Polina Kudermetova does not have the same ranking, reputation, or history. But she has something Svitolina does not have. A perfect record against Eala. 2 meetings. 2 wins. Both came in 2024. Both came in semi-finals. Twice, Eala moved close to a title. Twice, Kudermetova ended the run. That makes the quarterfinal more complicated than the ranking suggests. The higher-ranked opponent is the player Eala has already beaten. The lower-ranked opponent is the player she has never beaten. One name creates fear because of reputation. The other should create fear because of evidence. Kudermetova has also shown why she cannot be treated like a lucky qualifier. She fought through qualifying. She survived long matches. She came back after losing the first set in the main draw. Then she finished the deciding set without dropping a game. That is not the profile of a player waiting to disappear. That is the profile of a player who believes the week belongs to her. And if Kudermetova reaches the quarterfinal, every part of the pressure changes. Against Svitolina, Eala can play the fearless young challenger. Against Kudermetova, Eala becomes the favorite. The crowd expects her to win. The ranking tells her she should win. The story says this is her chance to correct the past. That pressure can tighten the arm faster than any powerful forehand. So, which opponent would you choose? The world-class veteran you have already beaten, or the lower-ranked qualifier who has beaten you twice? Most people would choose the lower ranking. The record tells a different story. That is why match 1 is the trap. It punishes anyone who looks only at the name. If Eala faces Svitolina, she needs patience. She cannot rush to recreate Berlin. She cannot assume the same patterns will produce the same result. Grass and hard court tennis ask different questions. On grass, the ball stays lower, and the first strike carries more value. On hard court, rallies stretch. Svitolina has more time to defend, redirect, and expose poor decisions. Eala must attack with discipline. She must take the court without forcing the point. She must accept that some rallies will need to be won twice. If Eala faces Kudermetova, the problem changes. She needs emotional control. She cannot play against the memory of 2 losses. She cannot chase revenge. She cannot treat every important point like a chance to erase 2024. She needs to stay in the present. One serve, one return, one rally, one decision. There is no easy quarterfinal. There is only a difficult match and a different kind of difficult match. That is the trap. Then comes match 2, the semifinal. This is where the bracket becomes less important than the body. A possible semifinal could bring Naomi Osaka or Elisabetta Cocciaretto. One name would dominate the headlines. Naomi Osaka, for Grand Slam titles, former world number 1, one of the most dangerous hard-court players of her generation. Eala against Osaka in Washington would feel larger than a normal semi-final. It would bring power, attention, and pressure from the first ball. But even that name may not be the greatest obstacle. The greatest obstacle may be the number of matches already inside the legs of Eala. Look at the week. Tuesday against Zhang Qinwen. 3 sets. Nearly 2.5 hours. Eala lost the first set. She fell behind in the second. Then she changed the match and won 9 of the final 10 games. Wednesday against Leylah Fernandez. Another physical battle. Eala controlled the first set. Then she fell behind 1-5 in the second. Fernandez won 5 consecutive games. The momentum changed. The crowd felt a deciding set coming. Eala did not panic. She held. She broke back. She dragged the set into a tiebreak. Then she won that tiebreak 7-1. 2 matches. More than 4 hours of high-pressure tennis. 2 comebacks. 2 opponents with championship experience. Now add the quarterfinal. Then the semi-final. Then the final. At that point, the challenge is not only about shot quality. It is about recovery. It is about sleep. It is about food. It is about the small pain that appears when the body has repeated the same explosive movement for 5 straight days. That is the ambush. It waits until the player looks closest to the trophy. Then it asks whether the legs still arrive on time. Eala has already shown she understands that danger. She entered Washington with a chance to play doubles beside Venus Williams. That pairing would have brought attention, headlines, and more time on court with a legend. She withdrew. Her explanation was simple. She did not have the capacity. That decision revealed more than any press conference answer. A younger player might take every opportunity. A player thinking only about the moment might accept the spotlight. Eala looked at the week and protected the second half of it. She was thinking about the 5th match before the first match began. That is not fear. That is planning. It does not guarantee her body will hold, but it shows she understands what a title run demands. This is also where Birmingham matters. Birmingham proved she could close a tournament. Berlin proved she could beat elite players in consecutive rounds at WTA 500 level. Washington is asking her to combine those 2 lessons. Beat the names. Manage the body. Then finish the week. The semi-final will test whether she has learned how to win efficiently. That does not mean every point must end quickly. It means she must stop spending energy where the match does not require it. She cannot turn every rally into a highlight. She cannot chase impossible balls when the score does not demand the risk. She cannot allow one bad service game to become a 20-minute emotional fight. This stage of a tournament, smart players do not only win points. They manage cost. That is what Leylah needs in match 2. There is another lesson inside those comebacks. Leylah did not win because every shot suddenly became perfect. She won because she kept solving the next problem. When Zhang controlled the early exchanges, Leylah improved the return and made the rallies more physical. When Fernandez found momentum, Leylah stopped the match from accelerating away from her. That is tournament intelligence. It is the ability to change without losing identity. Over 6 days, that skill may matter more than raw power. Nobody plays perfect tennis for an entire tournament. The champion is usually the player who survives the imperfect hours. If the quarterfinal is a trap for the mind, The semi-final is an ambush for the body. And then comes match 3. The final. This is the question. Can Eala finish? Not can she compete. We already know she can. Not can she beat elite players. She has already done that. Not can she carry the attention of a country. She has been doing that for years. The final asks something more direct. Can she play her best tennis when the entire week is reduced to one match? The strongest name on the other side could be Jessica Pegula. It could be another player who survives a difficult half of the draw. At that point, the exact name matters less than the situation. A final creates a different kind of pressure. Every earlier win becomes part of the weight. The comeback against Zheng, the escape against Fernandez, the quarterfinal, the semifinal, the points, the money, the history, the fans, the first title. All of it walks onto the court with you. That is why finals often look different from every match before them. The arm can tighten. The first serve can disappear. A player can become too careful because the trophy feels close, or too aggressive because she wants to finish the story immediately. Rybakina has lived through that feeling before. Eastbourne, final set tiebreak, 12 points to 10, 2 points from the trophy. That loss still matters because it gave her information no practice session can provide. She knows how a final feels. She knows how close victory can look. She knows how quickly it can disappear. The question is whether that experience now becomes strength. This is where the evidence from the last 2 months matters. Rybakina has faced different styles. A patient problem solver, a first strike power hitter, a total controller. She has beaten all 3 types. Svitolina made her solve rallies. Rybakina tested whether she could survive power. Swiatek tested whether she could live under constant pressure. Those wins matter because a final does not give you time to search for belief. You must bring belief with you. Rybakina can now look across the net and recognize the problem. She has seen speed. She has seen defense. She has seen control. She has seen championship experience. Nothing in Washington should feel completely new. The opponent can still beat her. The occasion can still overwhelm her, but surprise should not be the reason. That is important because the greatest change in Eala is not one shot. It is not the forehand. It is not the serve. It is not movement. It is the way she stays inside a match after the match turns against her. Fernandez described it after losing. Eala is always in the match. That sentence explains the week. Against Jung, she lost the opening set and fell behind. She stayed in the match. Against Fernandez, she fell behind 1-5 in the second set. She stayed in the match. That ability separates dangerous players from champions. Dangerous players can play brilliant tennis when everything works. Champions remain present when nothing works. Eala is not fully there yet. She is still young. She is still inconsistent. She can still produce a poor day. She can still lose before the trophy, but the gap is getting smaller. And Washington may be the week when the gap finally closes. The ranking points make the opportunity valuable. The history makes it emotional. But another number explains why this run feels larger than tennis. At least 80% of the ticket questions received by the tournament were reportedly asking the same thing. When is Eala playing? Think about the field around her. Major champions. Top American players. Former world number ones. Stars with years of history in Washington. And still, most ticket questions were about an unseeded 21-year-old from Manila. That number is not only about popularity. It is evidence that something is changing. Eala is not simply attracting existing tennis fans. She is bringing new people into the sport. Filipino families who may never have attended a professional tennis event are buying tickets because she is there. Fans are arriving with flags. They are shouting her name. They are turning a normal tournament week into a national gathering. That changes the meaning of every match. Before Eala, the Philippines had never produced a WTA Top 100 player. She became the first to arrive. A WTA Tour title would make her the first to win. Those are different achievements. Arriving proves a path exists. Winning proves someone from home can stand at the end of that path and hold the trophy. For a young player watching in Manila, that difference matters. It changes the dream from possible to visible. That is why this week is bigger than 500 points. It is bigger than prize money. It is bigger than one ranking jump. This is a chance to create the image that Philippine tennis has never had. A player from the Philippines standing alone on a WTA Tour court holding the trophy above her head. That image can last longer than any number. So, this is the full path. Match 1 is the trap. A famous opponent Eala has already beaten or a less famous opponent she has never beaten. Match 2 is the ambush. Not only another player, but fatigue, recovery, and the hidden cost of every comeback. Match 3 is the question. Can she finish the week? Can she carry the history without letting the history control her? Can she turn all of those great wins into the one thing still missing? A trophy. Maybe the trap catches her. Maybe Svitolina makes the hard court feel longer and slower than Berlin. Maybe Kudermetova turns 2 old wins into a third. Maybe the body empties in the semi-final. Maybe the final arrives with too much weight. All of that is possible. This is tennis. Opportunity does not promise success. It only opens the door. But maybe Eala walks through it. Maybe sometime on Sunday in Washington, a 21-year-old from Manila holds a trophy no player from her country has ever held. 3 matches. That is the distance. 500 points, that is the reward. 1 title, that is the history. I will break down every match as soon as the final point is played. Subscribe now if you want the full story while the emotion is still fresh. The question is no longer whether Eala can win a WTA Tour title. The question is whether she is 3 matches away from doing it now.